Yep, that's right, Azure Container Apps is yet another Azure service to host your containers in. Azure Container Apps is a new serverless option for running containers on Azure. You can use Azure Container Apps to deploy API endpoints, host background processes, event handling processes, and also run microservices. When hosting your apps on Azure Container Apps, you can dynamically scale using HTTP traffic, event-driven processes, and also CPU and memory load. Basically, it supports any CADA-supported scalers. Like any other container option, it can run whatever you need that can be containerized. So anything that is supported and into a Docker container, then Azure Container Apps will be able to run it. Some other good features of Azure Container Apps are running multiple container revisions and managing container apps, enabling HTTP ingress triggers without having to manage the Azure infrastructure. Blue-green deployment and A/B testing scenarios are also supported. You can split your traffic across multiple versions of the application, which is where revisions will come in. If you don't want to create a publicly viewable container, then you can use an internal ingress and service discovery, which is built on DNS-based service discovery, meaning you can have both public and internal microservices, if you like. You can build these microservices using Dapper and accessing Dapper's rich set of APIs. Any container registry that you could use with, say, with AKS, you can also use with Azure Container Apps. This could be a public or private container repository. For example, Docker Hub or Azure Container Registry. To deploy an application, you can do it through the Azure portal, the Azure CLI, an ARM template, or through Bicep. If you want to add secrets to your application, then Azure Container Apps also supports managing secrets directly in your application. For viewing logs, you will use Azure Log Analytics. In Azure, there's many options for running containers. For example, you could run your container on an Azure App Service, an Azure Container Instance, Azure Function, Azure Spring Cloud, or even a Azure Kubernetes service. Why would you want to run your container in Azure Container Apps where you've got so many other options? Azure Container Apps is built on top of an AKS cluster, so Azure Kubernetes cluster. So Azure Container Apps allows you to run your own Azure Kubernetes cluster without all the security implications of an Azure Kubernetes service, giving you an easier option to run all your microservices. As I said before, Azure Container Apps is powered by Kubernetes. If you need access to the underlying Kubernetes APIs and control plane, then you are going to need to use Azure Kubernetes service, as Azure Container Apps does not currently support this. Azure Container Apps provides a fully managed experience based on best practices. For this reason, you might opt for Azure Container Apps to start building your container services. The next thing we're going to do is demo Azure Container Apps. But before that, if you're finding this video useful, can you please like, comment and subscribe? That would be much appreciated. Let's get on to the demo. So now we're going to do just a quick and easy demo of Azure Container Apps. For this, we just need to jump on Azure. You can just type in Azure Container Apps, and just select Container Apps. We can then go to straight away creating a container app. I'm going to create a new resource group. So I'm just going to do example -rg, and then type my container name. So I'm just going to call it my container. Now I need to create a container apps environment. So a container apps environment is basically where you're trying to create your Kubernetes the Kubernetes based cluster pretty much. So let's just create the environment. I'm going to select Northern Europe. So currently, at the time of recording this, Container Apps is currently in preview, so there's only limited availability in terms of regions. So I'm just going to select Northern Europe, and then I'm just going to call it my environment. Like just done here. So I've got my environment. What I need to do is I need to attach a log analytics workspace. So a log analytics workspace is where all your logs are going to store for your environment. So every single environment that's in that said cluster. So I'm just going to create a new one quick. Again, same region, so it needs to be in the exact same region as your environment. And then I'm going to click OK. So there we go. So now we can actually create the environment. So as you can see, there's my environment there has been created. So now we're going to move on to the app settings. So I'm not going to use the quick start image. I'm actually going to use my own image that I've created. So I've got a little sample image that runs on Docker Hub, which is just a simple .NET 6 app. I'm going to put my name in, so my container -app. So if I wanted to, I could attach an Azure Container Registry. So do I want an ingress endpoint? So do I want to enable an HTTP endpoint? Yes, I do. So I'm going to click enable. So you can have internal traffic, so that's only within your VNet, or you can do an accepting external traffic, which is from anywhere, which is what I want to do today. So if I just type port 80, so that gives us access to it. This is the port that I'm going to expose. So now I want to preview and create. You can see it's passed, so it looks great. Everything looks what I expected. So I'm going to now click create again. So now I'm going to need to get everything initialized. So yeah, so that took about 1.5 minutes to do. So we can go straight back to our resource. So that should take us straight back to our container app, which it has. So as you can see, this is the overview of the container app service. You can see your application URL. So just to explain the application URL, you've got your container, so that's the actual container name of it. You've then got your environment that you've set up, so that's the environment piece of the URL, and then the region, and then you got the standard Azure Container Apps domain name. So if we just copy that, and then we can just put it into we can just put it into the URL. So as we can see, it's all up and running. I can see my nice little logo, and also telling you to subscribe, which seems like a good thing to do, especially if you want more cloud technology videos like you're seeing now. Now going back into the Azure portal on our container app, I just want to go through some of the things that are in the left hand side here. So we've got our secret settings, so this is where we can add secrets into the app, and then we can use this, wait for it to update. So now that's been a success, we can now just refresh it. Our secret is now in our secret store. We've also got the ingress, tells us how we can access the app, so we can do this and change it. And we've also got the container deployment tab as well, which if we wanted to link up to our GitHub repository or a registry, we can do that here. And then finally, if we just go to our revision management, we can see our current one revision, because that's all we've currently pushed to it as a revision. As you can see here, we've got traffic. Yeah, if you want to do your blue-green deployments, stuff like that, you can do that basically here, just by changing the traffic percentage. So I could have 5% to a new container for the time being, and while it's just testing, and then switch over to 100 when I wanted to. And then the final thing is the logs. So we wanted to be able to see logs for the service. So if we go to and just type to get logs, we can use this container app console logs _cl. as you can see, we can see all our logs, and we can just go dive into the details if we want. So that's it for our very simple demo of Azure Container Apps services. What do you think of Azure Container Apps? Comment down below, or better yet, join our Discord. If you need any help with Azure Container Apps, our Discord is a great place to do this. Thank you for watching the video. I hope it was very useful, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.